back. We're turning now to yet another state that's ramping up its anti-LGBTQ legislation.
Montana is now the first state to ban people dressed in drag from reading books to children at public venues like libraries and schools. These events are often called drag queen story hours. Montana's governor signed that bill into law earlier this week. NBC Out reporter Jo Yurcaba joins us now. So, Jo, what do we know about this bill and what makes it different from other bills we're seeing in other states?
Sure. So this new law makes Montana the first in the country to specifically ban drag story hours in publicly funded places, and that includes publicly funded schools and libraries. And for those who don't know, drag story hour is a national reading program where drag performers read to kids, and the idea is that it promotes things like creativity and imagination. So Montana will be the first in the country to not specifically require sexual content and performances for them to be banned. And the sponsor of the bill, Republican Representative Braxton Mitchell, told me that drag queens are reading, quote, half naked to kids, and that's why he promoted this bill. Drag story hour performances notably aren't adult themed, though. So when I asked him for examples of this happening in Montana, he didn't respond.
Some people and organizations who are challenging this bill say it directly violates the First Amendment. What is their argument?
Yeah, so their argument is that it basically targets the content of drag performers' speech specifically. And already in Tennessee, a judge has blocked a similar law under that argument. And he said that it violated the First Amendment because it was vague and overly broad, and that Tennessee needed to make a really compelling case for why it was needed. And we expect to see something similar in Montana.
So, Jo, we've seen attempts to restrict drag performances in public venues in a few other states. Those are being battled out in court. This particular ban we're seeing here, do we think it could be an ongoing trend? Do we think other states might try something similar?
Yes, so Montana is the third state behind Tennessee and Florida to pass such a restriction. It's unclear, what states are likely to pass one next, but it's something that we definitely expect to see happen because at least 16 states have proposed similar measures. So this is definitely an ongoing trend where Republicans are trying to restrict the ability of drag performers to be out in public in front of minors or to read to them in places like libraries.
And speaking of that trend, what kind of messaging is all of this sending to the LGBTQ+ community? If more bills like this are passed, what could be the overall impact?
Right. So drag is a, long art form practiced by the LGBTQ community. And so this is really sending a message that it's targeting their art form in particular and sending the message that they shouldn't be able to practice it, particularly in front of children, so that it's harmful to children in some way. And performers that we've spoken with have told us that that really, harms their ability to perform, but also hurts them as LGBTQ people.
Jo, just speaking, I know, with people all around the country, we're a week away from Pride. I know you've been in touch with people in the LGBTQ and drag communities. What is the feeling you're getting from folks as we head into Pride Month when there's supposed to be so much celebration, but we're seeing all these laws, including ones that are aimed at the drag community?
Yeah, people are anxious. They're afraid. They've told me that they don't plan on attending Prides this year. Drag performers in particular are afraid that they'll be targeted violently or reported to the police. There's also a lot of conflation happening between drag performers and people who are transgender. So transgender people in Tennessee, for example, have told me that they're afraid they'll be reported if they perform karaoke in front of minors. So there's definitely a lot of fear happening right now ahead of Pride Month.
So much impact. Jo Yurcaba, appreciate your reporting as always. Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.